Hi, everybody, and welcome to Ringside Muhammad Ali here on ESPN Classic. I'm Brian Kenny, just blocks away from the Brooklyn Bridge at the site of another historic New York City landmark, Gleason's Gym, home for hundreds of world champions. Over the next 3 hours, we'll roll out vintage Ali bouts from the Classic Library and sprinkle in some hidden gems from the archives. Plus, commentary throughout the broadcast from our distinguished panel. Boxing historian Bert Sugar, Canadian heavyweight George Chuvalo, boxing author and columnist Jerry Eisenberg, ESPN boxing analyst Teddy Atlas, and former heavyweight champion and Ali sparring partner Larry Holmes.
Now we get set for round 9 of the Schedule 10. Cassius Clay, little arm weary now. Taking every punch, Jones rather, is taking every punch that Clay has thrown. Some on the button, too. Two minutes left in the 9th round. Minute and a half to go in the 9th round. Jones looks bruised around his left eye. Jones in the dark trunks. A minute left. Round 9. .30 seconds. Clay obviously trying for a knockout. Come on, Joe. 10 seconds of much-needed rest.
All right, the late Chris Schenkel, great broadcaster. Chris Schenkel calling that fight and said looked like Cassius Clay was in a bit of trouble. How much trouble was he in, George? What do you think?
Well, he got stung with a few shots, but Ali took a very good punch.
But we didn't know that up to that time.
Up to that time, well, he had to prove it, and he did that night.
I mean, he had, I think, amazing recuperative powers.
He sure did. But you have to remember, Doug Jones still wasn't a power puncher.
No. So we still don't know.
We still don't know it, right? But he hit him with some nice punches. But Doug was right in front of Ali, and Ali didn't move from him. With a lot of other guys, he moved away from. But with Doug, he stayed right in front of him. He was very aggressive, tried to take Doug out of there.
Yeah, I mean, given what we know that that Clay would go on to be barely touched by Sonny Liston, why was he engaged in such a close competitive fight with Doug Jones?
Because he fought Doug Jones's fight, in close, on Doug's turf. If he would have moved on Doug, I think it would have given Doug a lot more problems. But Doug was basically an infighter. I mean, he didn't have the body type of an infighter. He had very long arms, and it was slight of build, really, but he was a very competent infighter.
Countered very well,
extremely
countered quickly.
Well, especially over a jab.
There's another element here, and you're just beginning to hear a little of it in the film. the crowd is cheering for Jones and booing Clay. And in fact, there's still people who believe that Jones won this fight, almost a majority of the crowd. Part of the booing, and it was a close fight, 6-4 I had it, but part of the booing is because Clay did not deliver on his prediction. So after the 4th round, they turned on him. In other words, he's going to knock him out in the 4th round. He's predicted it, just as he did. You know, they all must fall in the round I call. Archie Moore must go in 4. After the 4th round, it was a totally Jones crowd.
And Jones from New York had the people there as well, even though Clay brought him in, but now Jones had him. We're going to pick this fight up. We'll be back with the later rounds of Cassius Clay versus Doug Jones right after this. You're watching Ringside, King of the World. Now back to Cassius Clay versus Doug Jones. Here's round 10.
Good body punch by Jones. Jones is a little rubbery-legged. He's taken a lot of good shots to the head. We have 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the fight. 1:40 to go. The 5-point must system is in effect here in the event of a draw. And then only will it help in the determination. The rounds are even, then they use the point system. And that could happen here. We have 1 minute to go in the bout. Beautiful finish. Forty seconds. Twenty seconds. Five seconds. Well, there's always a possibility of a draw at Madison Square Garden. The judges, Artie Idala, Frank Forbes, Idala on the near side of the ring, Forbes on the opposite side, and of course the third man was Joe Lascalzo. Neither fighter was knocked down. Neither fighter sustained any cuts, which is great credit to a tremendous job of physical conditioning by Angelo Dundee in the case of Cassius Clay, at whom we're looking now, and Rolly Hackner and Jimmy August and manager Alex Koskowitz on the part of Doug Jones. It's been a while since we've seen a fighter that has taken as many punches and seemingly has just brushed them off like water off a duck's back. Doug Jones, who lost only 3 in 25. Clay, going into this bout undefeated in 17 starts. Johnny Addy now has collected the cards. First of Artie Idala. and now of Frank Forbes, and he is getting it verified by the executive inspector, Jack Duberstein, and Secretary Dan Dowd, as we look at Cassius Clay, who is directly above us. Shouting to some of his fans, he put on a tremendous finishing flurry in that 10th and final round. There is Doug Jones, the 26-year-old older who grew up right here in New York City. And now for the decision, here is Johnny Addy.
Both judges, Ali Ringside and Frank Forbes. They score it this way: 5-4, 1 even, favor of Clay. Referee Joe Lascalza has it 8-1, 1 even, Clay. Winner by unanimous decision, Cassius Clay.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 5-4-1 on the part of the two judges at ringside, and 8-1-1 on the part of the referee, Joe Lascalzo.
Cassius Clay gets the decision over Doug Jones. Bert, you were at that fight. Your scorecard, it was a close fight, but your scorecard.
I had it 6-4, Clay. And I don't think the fans had it that way, because the four-letter words that were being shouted at the ring, many feeling that Jones not only had won but had gotten jobbed, were, I think, overwhelming. But I had it 6-4 Clay, particularly because he closed the fight. But it was very close.
George, what did you think? Do you think it was just a matter of there's the hometown underdog doing very well, or do you think actually that Jones was winning most of those rounds?
Well, a lot of people thought Jones won the fight, but I mean, maybe they wanted to win because they're from New York, or maybe they just didn't like Ali Clay at the time, whatever it was. But it was a very hotly contested fight. A lot of people had Jones winning going into the late rounds, but I think Ali pulled it out in the late rounds.
It's just great to watch the beginning of that fight, isn't it? To see, I mean, Chris Schenkel is there, and he's just talking about the fighters that are coming in. There's James J. Braddock, Tunney, and Dempsey there coming into the ring. You know, just bridging the century of heavyweight champions.
But it was New York boxing. It was a reflection. Here's Madison Square Garden packed for the first time in years, and here is a parade of our champions: Dempsey, Braddock, Tunney.
All right, of course, Cassius Clay wants Sonny Liston. He wants a shot at the title, but next up is Henry Cooper. All right, who's Henry Cooper? How good is he, Bert, at this point?
Henry Cooper was hot and cold. I mean, he at this point he was Commonwealth British champion. He had lost some fights to almost quasi-nondescript fighters, but Henry Cooper was a mountain he had to climb. Muhammad had to go to the mountain in England to beat Henry Cooper because he was a ranking heavyweight, and he added credentials to Ali's and then Clay's growing credential list to get to Liston.
What did you think of Henry Cooper, George?
Well, first of all, Henry Cooper, if you don't mind me saying so, I don't hold him in that high regard. He was a good fighter, he had a good left hook, but I was always chasing him for a shot at the Empire title. Never could get it. Remember, Canada's still part of the Empire, the old Commonwealth, and I can never get a crack out of this title. I remember speaking to his manager one time. I said to him, Mr. Wicks, when is Henry Cooper going to meet me in the ring? He said to me, George, he doesn't even want to meet you socially. So what can I do? Anyway, but he still had a good left hook, and he still had, it was something they had to watch out for. But he was very susceptible to cuts. He had what they call Nordic features, a very sharp bone here over the eyebrow. And if you have a very sharp bone here, it's very easy to get cut. It isn't the skin that's so tender. It's the fact that the sharpness of the bone makes it susceptible to cuts.
Of course, we talk about his hook, and that would come into play. It would be an interesting fight. We're going to have Henry Cooper going up against young Cassius Clay, and then, of course, we're going to look ahead and take a look at Sonny Liston versus Cassius Clay when we come back.
Henry Cooper's nothing to me. If this bum go over 5 rounds, I won't return to the United States for 30 days. That's final.
Okay, since you're not worried about this guy Cooper, how about when you get through with him? What are your plans after that?
Well, you're right. I'm not even worried about this big bum. Cooper will only be a warm-up until I get to that big ugly bear, Sonny Liston.
So here we go. The fight of the year, Clay from the right-hand corner against Cooper of Britain.
And Clay has said, I'll beat him in 5. We'll see. A lot of people think that Cooper's big chance is to go in early with his left hook and try and nail Clay. Clay, 6'2½", Cooper 6'1½". Clay really is a fine figure. Blood on Cooper's left shoulder, and that comes from Clay's nose. That left hand of Cooper's is right into Clay's face, and he's scoring heavily with it, and he's hurting the American. A sensational start to this fight. And Cooper right on top with half a minute to go in the first. The ball to end the first. And that first round has done wonders for British professional boxing. People are on their feet at the ringside now cheering Cooper. A fantastic start by the British champion. The rain has stopped. The excitement has really started among the crowd here who've seen Cooper take the fight to Clay. And these 40 or 50,000 people in Wembley are all on Henry Cooper's side. Cooper's left eye patched up now, and still he hooks with that left hand. And now he's cut over the left eye. Henry Cooper is cut over the left eye, and it looks to me like a very bad cut indeed. This is tragedy for Cooper in the third round. With only 40 seconds gone, and Cooper is very badly cut over the left eye. Clay is unmarked. That handsome place of the American Negro, completely unmarked. Cooper trying to nail him in the third if he can. There's no telling now how long he's got to go, Cooper, with that eye. A minute left in the third. Clay now, look at him. He's got his arms down. He's contemptuously treating Cooper. His arms are down by his hips. Just using his feet to keep away from Cooper. This is complete cheat on the part of Clay, who feels that he's got it in the bag because of that eye. Half a minute to go in the third. Clay has taken all of Cooper's punches and stood up to them. Bothering to punch in this round now. He's just threatening and he's teasing Cooper. He's trying to make Cooper look small in the third round, and Cooper's left eye is a very sorry sight indeed. It really is.
Oh man, that was really something. He should have been there. I walked into London, England, I jumped off the airplane. Picture, cameramen, everywhere I go, you can look in the gym today, the TV, the cameramen, everybody follows me, I'm so great. And 55,000 people came that night. You should have seen the people. One layoff, 2 layers. 10,000 on each layer, 15, 20 on some. 4 layers on the 5th layer. People were looking down on the ring. 55,000, and Cleopatra was at ringside to witness. Can this Louisville Lip come over here and call the exact round again? We don't leave it. The 5th round came. Yeah, hit him. Yeah, I said, come on, sucker. Yeah. Man said, break it up. I said, there he is. There he is. And walked on out of the joint.
Back here at Gleason's Gym, it is ringside Muhammad Ali, George Chuvalo, Burt Randolph Sugar with me, Brian Kenny. All right, we've seen 3 rounds, and young Cassius Clay is kind of messing around in there, Burt.
Well, he's already cut Cooper. The problem is he's predicted the 5th round. Wanting to keep his prediction, he starts clowning around. You can see it. In fact, Harry Carpenter, the man announcing the fight, is calling it cheat. Watch him taunt him. He wants to keep him around to the 5th round. And Bill Faversham, the head of the Louisville Syndicate, is hollering at him, fight, fight, don't play around. And he's playing around.
He is, and it would cost him. We want you to pay close attention now. We're going to go to round number 4, and here's where it all happens. And if you haven't seen this fight before and you hear that, oh, Clay got put down, he got put down hard. Here it is, round number 4.
Round 4. Sitting down the ringside is one of Clay's 11 managers, Bill Faversham, and he called out to Clay in the interval, cut out the funny business and get down to work. So the Clay people are not too happy with their man. He was certainly teasing Cooper in the 3rd. This is not the way to go about things when you're a world heavyweight contender. And Cooper's eye already bleeding again in the 4th round. Above and below, 2 streams of blood. And poor Cooper keeps putting his left glove up there to that eye as though he can hardly believe his bad luck. The 4th round, and one looks for a sign that a left hook from Cooper could really hurt this man, but apart from the opening minute, he hasn't seemed to hurt Clay very much with his punch. He's put as many left hooks in as he can get, and Clay has taken them all somewhat contemptuously. And now Clay is just jabbing casually with his left hand. Seems to be half here. His mind seems to be half away somewhere else. He's just treating Cooper almost as a plaything here. But that's the sort of chance you can take once too often. And if Henry nails him, anything might happen. 2 seconds before the end of the round with the left hook. Clay took one chance too many, and he still doesn't know where he is. He's still half out, Clay. They're working furiously on him in the corner. Angelo Dundee, his trainer. He really is giving him a talking to. Cooper's left hook finally scores, and Clay was down 2 seconds from the end of the 4th round and got up just after the bell, and he doesn't know where he is. He's looking at his corner. And something extraordinary has happened, because referee Tommy Little has gone over to the timekeeper to ask something. Tommy Little has gone to Clay's corner now to talk to them. And I think Clay has got a torn glove. Oh no, it seems to be all right. And out we come to round 5. And now round 5 is the round in which Clay said he would beat Cooper, but now this crowd at Wembley are beginning to bay for a Cooper win. Clay on the floor at the end of the 4th, and now fighting to preserve his professional right here against Henry Cooper. Oh, and now Cooper's left eye is really in a shocking state. It really is now. Cooper's left eye is pouring blood. Gum shoots flying out. Henry is dripping blood. And I think Tommy Little will have to stop this, because Cooper's eye is really in an absolutely appalling state. It is the worst tough eye I've seen for a very, very long time indeed. I do not see how he can let this go much further. It's round 5. And now he's stepping in, and I think this is it. The towel has come in from Cooper's corner, and Tommy Little's looking at it.
A sudden and dramatic ending as young Cassius Clay makes good his prediction of a 5th round KO after coming off the canvas in the 4th. It now appears to everyone that this young fighter is destined to become heavyweight champion of the world.
All right, a lot to digest now and a lot to go over. George, first, that knockdown that Cooper put down Cassius Clay, that really showed us something with Clay and his ability to get back up. He caught a few breaks there, too. Your take on that?
Well, first of all, Ali has proven that he can take a great shot, and his recuperative powers are amazing. And he did get knocked down, but he got up and he went back to his corner. He wobbled a little bit, but he has very good recuperative powers. He bounces back quite well.
That was not a flash knockdown.
That was a solid knockdown. But he did get up. Within a couple of seconds, within 2-3 seconds, he was up on his feet.
Watch once again. Just what Clay stands there just for a second. It's rarely that he's in one spot, not moving his head, and his hand is down, and he gets drilled. The ropes helped him,
and he slid down. Had he not been against the ropes, it might have been a different story.
Now Angelo Dundee there in the corner, and there's much has been made of the split glove and how he bought time. Fortunately, there is film of this, and we watch it over and over again. He didn't really buy that much time. That's really kind of a myth, Bert, isn't it?
Oh, it continues to grow. You know, it's the fish story. It continues to grow. He might have bought 5 to 10 seconds if you watch at the most.
Maybe, right.
But if you read some of the reports, they had the referee get a ring official, go back to the dressing room to get another set of gloves.
Right. And Dundee knew that there were no gloves to be gotten, so he bought all this time. Not to minimize what he did, because, again, George, you can talk about this. He was in bad shape. I mean, Dundee had to work hard on Clay at that point. He was all but out.
Absolutely. But when you notice him, when he first got up, he got up in a very strong manner. When he got up, he didn't wobble when he got up. He kind of wobbled in a way going back to the corner. But actually, it was really his body slant to the side that kind of makes you feel he wobbled. But he didn't even really wobble as he walked back to the corner. But listen, he got hit a great shot. You got to clear the head. You got to get the blood back in the brain. Angelo only had so much time to work. He had a minute to work. And but I still think that Ali had great recuperative powers. I think he showed that in that fight.
Why did George never have this experience of going down? Why is he talking about what you've got to do when you get up?
From what he's seen of other people.
But you can see the guy. Yeah, but you can see the guy when he got up. Sometimes guys got up very slowly, but he kind of sprung up. Right. He sprung up. When he got knocked down, even though he hit the canvas or hit the lower rope pretty hard and it slid down, when he got up in a very strong manner.
Later see that
he sprung up, really.
Against Joe Frazier, too, you'd later see that, where his eyes roll back up in his head and yet he pops right back up.
There's one other quick note. In those days, back in '63, if you were knocked down and the bell rang, That was the end of the count and the end of the round. Now you can go on. So he would not have suffered at that point with the count going on. Round over, go back to corner.
Henry Cooper also becomes a legend after this, at least in Great Britain, right? I mean, Sir Henry at this point.
Sir Henry?
Eventually.
Yeah, but again, what do they know? They think Dunkirk was a victory.
Bert, be fair now.
And there he is, bleeding in the 5th round, and the fight stopped, and it was the round that Clay had predicted.
And he got KO'd in the rematch later when he would fight Muhammad Ali and get stopped there. But Henry Cooper making a career out of his fights with Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali. So there it is. Cassius Clay works his way to a title shot and bum rushes his way to a title shot, going after Sonny Liston, and gets the fight with Sonny Liston. So many things to talk about. We're back at Gleason's gym as we go over Clay Liston 1 when we return.
I saw Liston knock a guy's teeth out with a jab. I seen him. And I seen him fight Ernie Cabb here in Miami Beach. And he was just a tough individual. I mean, the toughest guy in the block, forget about it. I know a lot of guys that completely collapsed when they used to see the guy. I seen him destroy Cleveland Williams, destroy him. He hit him a shot, he flattened out, and then Cleveland Williams were like 6'6". And when he flattened out, he covered the whole ring.
I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
You might be young and handsome, but you won't be after I finish with you.
If you like to lose your money, be a fool and bet on Sunday.
Back here at Gleason's gym in Brooklyn, New York, Brian Kenny, Burt Randolph Sugar, and now joined by longtime boxing columnist and author, and from the Newark Star-Ledger, I still call it the Newark Star-Ledger, the Star-Ledger in New Jersey now, Jerry Eisenberg. How are you, Jerry?
Pretty good, pretty good.
It's good to have you here. Take us back in time now and how Cassius Clay got the fight with Sonny Liston. How did he make that happen?
Well, it was a one-man campaign, but also he needed some friendly cooperation. He fought a fellow named Doug Jones, and I think the judges were very kind, very charitable, and very career-oriented, and gave him the decision. I really think Doug beat him.
Now, Burt had it otherwise. Burt had it
well,
6'4", right?
Bert's entitled. Nobody listens.
Come on, Jerry. Welcome to the show, Jerry. All right, but it was a close fight, but you think he got a favorable decision.
And he needed the Cooper fight desperately, and certainly took advantage of it. But then he followed Sonny around, the big ugly bear. If you remember his bus, to ride in that bus was to have 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it was, of pure terror. He's the worst driver God ever put on this earth. And he drives it up onto Sonny's lawn with a loudspeaker, you know, Bear, I want to fight you, I want to do this, I want to do that. And this went on, and it was obvious they had a real fight here because, first of all, he had not yet publicly announced that he was a member of the Nation of Islam. People disliked him really because he talked. Wasn't the American way, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And people loved him for that because he backed it up. So he was popular, and nobody in the world, I don't know what Burt thought, but I didn't give this guy any chance whatsoever. I mean, it was just impossible that he could win this fight.
He was right. And, you know, just nobody. In fact, before the fight, I think they had 47 writers.
Yeah.
And 3 said Clay, and 2 of them just said it to be ornery and contrary.
The third guy was a gate crasher, and that you couldn't even have it.
How stunning was it? I mean, after seeing what Liston did, not even the fight, but just after what Liston did to Floyd Patterson, to see Clay calling him out. I mean, going on his lawn, going into his house and calling him out.
Bigger than that, in my mind, there was a fighter named Cleveland Williams, who was a magnificent fighter. By the time Ali got to fight him, he had a bullet in his kidney, but he was a magnificent fighter, a tremendous puncher. And he had Sonny Liston out on his feet in the first round, and Sonny Liston knocked him out in the second or third round. And to see him come through that, and I said, well, you know, who is going to test this guy, really?
In fact, his only loss was Marty Marshall, and he fought it with a broken jaw.
Yeah.
And then
that's true.
And then avenged it against Marshall later.
He was a guy just, he had everything, even to the scowl. He had everything and he had the prison background. And most of all, not everybody, but an awful lot of people seem to forget. This guy had a a jab that could knock you out.
So where did that confidence that Cassius Clay had at that time, seeking out that fight and seemingly knowing that this was, that he was going to be able to take him?
I don't think he had all that much confidence until he hooked up in Miami with Malcolm X. And Malcolm X had told him, this is your destiny.
All right, we're ready for the fight itself. February 25th, 1964. Watch early. This is Clay at his most elusive, on the run early, later would make a stand. Round number 1.
Cassius Clay on the move as we see, looking to get Sonny to lunge, carrying his left hand dangerously low. Note that the champion, Liston, the aggressive man, a good heavy shot dug under the heart. Sonny has to set the pace. That's the way it looks at the outset. Cassius, awkwardly fast. Good long left lead that might keep the champion a bit off balance. Very slippery. Clay still in the danger zone in that he's keeping his hands low, but you'll notice one thing if you don't mind. He's at long range with the hands low. We're halfway through round 1. Close range, if we look closely, although Barney Felix does want them apart at this point because the hands were tied, Sonny will be the guy that'll keep mauling away. 1 minute more in the first round. Sonny seems to be trying to slip those left leads. Can't do it too successfully because the challenger is jabbing all over. Body, head, and right hand. The best punch of the fight so far. We're down to the closing second of this first round, and the long left lead is making the difference so far by Mr. Clay.
The first round, Liston chases him confidently he's going to knock him out. Kid is moving, popping a jab, but every once in a while he stops and throws a right hand that rips up cuts under this guy. When Liston starts to get all these bumps and bruises and starts to feel the pain, because Liston later said to me, he'd say, this guy can't punch, he can punch like hell.